update to New Brunswickers. Bonjour à tous et bienvenue à...
Welcome, everyone, and welcome to the update for New Brunswickers. So, we love the Premier, making sure to mute your microphone.
I would like to ask everyone to please ensure your microphones are on mute. Premier.
Thank you very much. Afternoon, everyone. I'm going to start by flagging that this will be the last of the weekly tariff addresses, but we are looking for your feedback and input on best ways for us to engage and communicate with you going forward. And that extends to the media as well as to the New Brunswickers who might be both following along live or after the fact. We would welcome your input on ways that we can make sure that you are up to speed on what's happening in New Brunswick, that your questions are getting answered, and then we are creating the right opportunities to engage. So we plan to come back in about 2 weeks with having received your feedback and a bit of a new approach going forward. But one of the reasons why we've chosen to make this the last of our tariff updates is because the tariff situation has somewhat stabilized. We have a new and stable federal government in place. They have now named a clear team of people who will be leading the negotiations with the U.S. and the work to remove the barriers to trade that have been put in place by the president. New Brunswick companies have reached out and have indicated to us that they are engaging with the support folks at Opportunities New Brunswick and the Department of Agriculture, Aquaculture and Fisheries and beyond to get the expert help they need through this process. And so we think that the level of threat that prompted us to provide regular and consistent communications to New Brunswickers has diminished. Alors,
so that's why we're making the changes. I'm going to repeat that this is the last of our weekly addresses, but we're looking for your feedback, the feedback from the media, feedback from the people in New Brunswick who are following the addresses online at the present time or maybe later on. Let us know how you want us to communicate with you and with the media as well in a regular basis, because we're going to come back in 2 weeks, maybe with a new approach, and we'd really like your suggestions and your requests to inform our decisions in the way that we engage with you and communicate with you. But the reason why we're amending the format is because we believe the tariff issue is in a different situation today than the reasons why we created these presentations. We know that we have a federal government that is stable now, with the people that are competent and responsible for negotiations with the United States. So we're ready to continue to work with them, because the challenge to remove the tariffs and trade barriers is still a priority. But we also know that New Brunswick businesses are well surrounded with our support at Opportunities New Brunswick, Department of Agriculture and Fisheries, and to help them with the commercial situation at the present time. So these updates are not going to be held every week, and we'll come back in 2 weeks with a new approach.
Opportunity to recognize the federal government and to congratulate members of the team, particularly the 2 New Brunswick members of the team. I was really happy to see 2 fierce advocates for New Brunswick find their way into the cabinet of the Prime Minister. Our team will be sending a delegation to Ottawa in very short order to make clear face-to-face the priorities of our province, the uniqueness of our province, and our desire for a strong partnership with the federal government as we seek to advance opportunities for collaboration, for nation building, and for growth. J'aimerais féliciter.
I'd like to congratulate our both defenders from New Brunswick who are in cabinet. And we're really glad to see Mr. Leblanc and Mr. Long, who are going to represent New Brunswick. Our team is going to send a delegation in Ottawa in the coming weeks in order to make sure that the promoter province and the cabinet and their team will better understand New Brunswick's reality and the unique beauty of New Brunswick for partnerships as well.
collaborate with the federal government when it comes to our ports, when it comes to how we build modular housing for New Brunswickers and Canadians, when it comes to the critical minerals that can be found here in New Brunswick that are important for the green economy, for the defense economy, and beyond, when it comes to energy and how important it is for our energy systems to be resilient and connected across provincial lines and beyond. And so I'm looking forward to articulating New Brunswick's top priorities to the new folks in Ottawa and to start off our working relationship on the right foot. On a plusieurs possibilités de...
We have many opportunities for cooperation with the federal government. We're going to raise the points with opportunities with the projects with our ports mainly, and with the construction of modular housing, that we have a good expertise and capacity in New Brunswick, critical minerals for the technology, for green technology and defense technology for our minerals to contribute to Canada and certainly the New Brunswick growth, as well as the importance of energy and the transmission system and energy system that are resilient with good networks compared to our Atlantic provinces and with our neighbors and for all of Canada.
I'm going to take the opportunity to thank New Brunswickers who have been both following along these weekly addresses, who have expressed to us concerns about tariffs, about trade, about commerce, and who have shown up for New Brunswickers in the way that they have bought local over these past many weeks. I hope those habits continue and grow because it has made a difference to New Brunswick companies to have local customers buying their products in larger and larger numbers. And I'm going to reinforce that now is the time to plan your New Brunswick vacation. We have seen significant increase in bookings in the tourism sector. The tourism team has been hard at work marketing New Brunswick to Ontario and Quebec and the United States, and we're starting to see the booking results as a result of that. But I hope New Brunswickers take the opportunity to explore all that we have to offer in our beautiful province. That's one of the reasons why we announced this week that we're making provincial parks more affordable, discounting entry fees by 25% to make it a little easier, a little more affordable for you and your family to go and experience one of our most beautiful assets, which is our nature and our parks. And they open this weekend. Tomorrow is opening weekend, starting May 16th. And so I hope everyone gets the chance to get out and have a glorious vacation in nature at low cost right here at home. The other piece that I want to address just briefly, because it is something that is on our minds on a daily basis. Oh, je m'excuse, j'ai dit la...
I'm sorry, I lost the last page only in English. So I'm going to do the emphasis on the fact that New Brunswickers, during these commercial issues with the tariffs and with all the chaos in the United States, New Brunswickers were there for our entrepreneurs and businesses to buy local products in great numbers. And I would ask you to continue that, to support local businesses and products. And that is a habit that we develop because it does make a difference. And we really appreciate that you were there to support and see the growth in the local clientele for our businesses here. And I would encourage you to take another step forward to plan your vacation, summer vacation here in New Brunswick. We have so many beautiful corners in our province, unique experiences. That is the beaches and nature, whether it's our towns, our festivals, our culture. We see a lot of investments from the Department of Tourism in the promotion of New Brunswick in Ontario, in Quebec, and in the United States. And we see that the activity is increasing. And we encourage you to take your vacations in New Brunswick this summer to make it affordable. We've decreased 25% on the entrance cost to our provincial parks. So you can go visit in order for less money for New Brunswickers, and really to have an incredible experience with our nature, which is unique and beautiful here in New Brunswick. And the season is going to opening Friday. The parks are going to open from May 16th for the season. So I would encourage you to take that opportunity with the long weekend to go with your friends, your family, and to visit. And we're proud to make them more affordable for New Brunswickers.
NB Power, because NB Power and the increasing cost to New Brunswickers for NB Power rates has been something that has been on our mind, not just for months, but actually for years, as our team worked in opposition to try to convince the previous government to do something about the ever-increasing power rates that New Brunswickers were facing. We committed in our platform to try to make rates more affordable by discounting them by 10%. We implemented that commitment as of January 1st, but we are under a rate schedule that sees rates increasing by almost 10% last year, the year before, or sorry, this year in April, the year before, and likely scheduled to increase in similar double-digit growths in the future. And so that's why the Minister of Energy announced this week that we are adjusting the target that NB Power faces to reduce their debt-to-equity ratio. That is one of the things that was putting pressure on rate increases and meant that it was likely that their next application for another rate increase was going to be in those double digits. And so taking some of that pressure off, we think gives a chance for those increases to be smaller and to represent hopefully less pain than New Brunswickers have seen so far. That's one step that we're taking along with the 10% discount that we've made. And as folks probably know, NB Power is presenting to public accounts right now the results of the audit that they undertook. Our government has asked them to produce a report within 30 days to demonstrate actions that they are going to take to provide New Brunswickers with more information and more support for what they've experienced in terms of rate spikes and increases. And then there's the next piece. So I want to make this clear that in the first instance, we discounted rates by 10% as an effort to make life more affordable in terms of electricity costs. In the second instance, we've now changed the target for debt reduction to a further year to 2029 to take pressure off of their next rate increase application in the hopes that that will then be a lesser increase to benefit New Brunswickers. There is the work that NB Power is doing now on the audit in relation to the spikes. And then there is the comprehensive review that we announced a number of weeks ago. Because all of these measures are short-term measures put in place, we need to look at what the fundamental, long-term, sustainable model is for the provision of electricity to New Brunswickers that is affordable and reliable and delivers New Brunswickers what they want and need in their power. So there will be an update on the next step in the comprehensive review coming very shortly. We look forward to introducing you to who the leads for that review will be and what the next steps in that process are. And our goal is to have that review done in less than a year's time so that we are in a position to implement the kind of changes needed to have our utility on the right footing to deliver New Brunswickers the kind of affordability and reliability that they're looking for from their utility. Je vais répéter, je voulais parler.
I also want to talk a bit about Energy New Brunswick, NB Power, and the issue of cost of electricity for New Brunswickers. It is something that we've been speaking about the last few months. It's something that our team has been speaking for many years, actually, because we've been seeing for many years the electricity rates that are increasing really rapidly from 9%, 10%, and this year and last year at a time where New Brunswickers have problems in reaching both ends. That's why we're pushing the former government to take action to decrease these increases, and this is why we've promised to reduce electricity bills by 10%, a promise that we have accomplished in January 1st of this present year to remove a bit of pressure and to decrease the bills by 10%, and clearly it's not enough. So our government yesterday announced that the minister is going to remove the objective to reduce the debt at a level of 80%, 20% ratio and push it to 2029 to remove the pressure on the next rate increase for NB Power. And we imagine that with the present situation, NB Power is preparing their applications, and we know that New Brunswickers are going to have problems with another increase of more than 9-10%. So it's by removing those requests, we're giving them a bit more space to have increases that are smaller and to give help to New Brunswickers who tell us that they cannot continue to see increases like those. So that's what we're working on it today. NB Power is presenting at Public Accounts the result of the assessment made by KPMG, and we asked them to represent a report within 30 days to show the way that they're going to help support New Brunswickers. But all these solutions are solutions on a short term. And the next thing we will have to do that we've already started is the comprehensive assessment of NB Power in order to put in place a structure, a system where they can offer electricity in a reliable and affordable way for New Brunswickers for the future. So we've started to create this review, and we're going to present the three people who are going to be the leads of these review in a few days, a few weeks. And after that, we're going to present the plan for this review. It would do it in less than 1 year, and the work is going to be completed in March 2026, so we can make the changes that we hope are going to offer us NB Power that can really realize its objectives and to serve New Brunswickers with electricity that is affordable and durable for the future. So it's an important conversation. It's a major issue for New Brunswickers, and it is something that our government is trying every way possible to settle and to help, and the work continues.
That we understand how important energy is to New Brunswickers as people who need that energy to heat their homes, to go to work, to New Brunswick businesses that need that energy to build their products and services and help grow our economy. And so we are putting in the work with the comprehensive review to make sure that we have retooled our utility to deliver affordable and sustainable energy for the future, while also putting in place the 10% discount and now the removal of the 2020 or the push out of the 2029 deadline to take pressure off of rate increases to make sure that New Brunswickers have every opportunity for affordable energy in the months and weeks to come while we do the comprehensive review process. Just going to check to make sure that's everything on my list. Okay, with that, I will thank everyone who has been tuning in on a weekly basis. Thank the media who've been participating regularly. I'll encourage you again to provide your feedback either through email, susan.holt@gnb.ca, or commenting on this feed wherever you're watching it. Let us know what you want in terms of regular communications from your government, in terms of both format and maybe on what subject. And we'll be back with you again in about 2 weeks' time to let you know how we're going to go forward to continue to make sure that New Brunswickers are getting regular and open communication and engagement from their government on the things that matter most to them. So thanks to everybody who's been tuning in, and I'm happy to take your questions now.
Yeah, each reporter will get one question and one follow-up. You have the right to pose your question in the official language of your choice. Nous allons maintenant procéder aux questions des...
We'll now proceed to a media question. Each media will have one question, a following question. You have the right to ask the question in the official language of your choice. Andrew Wall, Post Media.
Hey, Premier. So just listen to everything you said about NB Power. The question that kind of keeps coming back to me is, you have repeatedly spoken about not kicking the can down the road, and you speak of transformational change. But now, by pushing out that debt to equity ratio target or law, it seems to me that that's exactly what you're doing. I understand you're trying to give people short-term relief, but what impact does this have on the utility? I mean, it needs to collect money. It needs to make money to get out of its $5 billion debt. So if you could just speak to that, that'd be good.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Andrew. We are trying to give people relief at the same time as build the new long-term sustainable model for NB Power that will mean that we don't have to do these short-term or Band-Aid solutions in the interim. New Brunswickers need action now, and so we're taking steps like the 10% discount, like the removal of the 2029 deadline to provide relief while we're doing the work that has been neglected for the last number of years, and that's the comprehensive review, because that's exactly it. We have to stop kicking the can down the road with things like artificial rate freezes, with not taking the kind of change that we need to undertake with MB Power, but we need to do the work to make the right changes, and I think doing that between now and next March is still a pretty tight timeline to make the kind of fundamental changes that the utility will benefit from in order to deliver the kind of permanent long-term affordability and sustainability while continuing to deliver reliable power to New Brunswickers. So it's that balance. It's the balance of providing support right now in the interim while we do the work over these next number of months to put in place the permanent changes that will stop kicking the can down the road.
Andrew Waugh, your follow-up?
Yeah, thanks, Katie. So you must have had conversations, or the government must have had conversations with MV Power about, okay, if we do this, what does this look like in terms of your next rate application? So what should New Brunswickers expect the impact of this to be when NB Power heads back to the EUB? Like, are we looking at a 5% rate request, or, like what ballpark are we going to be in, do you think?
Yeah, that's a good question, because we have had those conversations with NB Power, and I think they're preparing that rate application now, and they're about to go through the processes that they normally do to engage the public on that process and then take it to the EUB. I'll find out from the team that we had some, it's modeling that's based on a number of hypotheticals, I guess. So we had the modeling trend line of rates anticipated under the current deadline for an 80-20 debt target, and then we had them present some possible modelings of the rate trend line with that target removed. And so let me see if we can get that information to you, or whether it's going to be included in NB Power's rate application package.
Thank you, Andrew. Suzanne Lapointe, Global News.
Hi, I know we've been speaking a lot about MB Power. I do still have some questions on that. As a journalist, I've been hearing from a lot of people who are saying they're having to choose between groceries and paying the power bill. I know you did mention the 10% rebate and taking some pressure off MB Power, but is there any discussion about an emergency fund for people who are in that position, who just are really unable to pay these bills as they are?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Suzanne. And actually, that's exactly it. The 10% rebate was to take the pressure off of NB Power customers and not NB Power themselves. And that's a bit of the same with this move to adjust the deadline for their debt ratio to take the pressure off of rate increases, because we know that there are New Brunswickers struggling. So we have had conversations about the kind of help that the government might be able to make available to people who are really having a difficult time. We haven't been able to structure a program different than the ones that exist in place right now to date, other than I think the NB Power has presented an opportunity for extended payment terms to spread their payments of large bills out over many, many months to try to ease the burden for folks who weren't on monthly billing, regulated billing cycles. So we're looking forward to NB Power presenting within their report to come in 30 days some of those options, and we continue to look at ways we can support people that are really at the edges of making the kind of tough decisions that you described.
All right, and just to change the topic a little bit, you mentioned that, pardon me, the promotion of tourism in New Brunswick to Ontario and Quebec is a major priority. Are you able to tell me what sort of monetary investments the province is making in promoting that tourism? I believe I saw there was an ad campaign going on in Ontario right now.
I can get you that information. I apologize that I don't have it right in front of me at the moment, but we can absolutely get you the information on what we invested in this year's tourism promotion season in the Ontario market and the Quebec market and in the US market.
Thank you, Suzanne. Maxime Bosny, Radio-Canada.
Oui, bonjour, est-ce qu'on m'entend bien?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? It's not very clear. Hello?
Est-ce qu'on m'entend?
Yes, you can hear me? Can you hear me? Yes.
Désolé.
Sorry about that. Thank you for taking my question. I have a question. On a few weeks, New Brunswick and Ontario signed protocols to remove barriers for commercial trade, and Ontario did the same thing yesterday. Is New Brunswick continuing to discuss with other provinces, and if so, which ones that can we expect other agreements in the weeks and months to come? Thank you. Yes, Maxime, thank you very much for that question, because we were proud to sign that agreement with the province of Ontario, and we went to Newfoundland to sign a similar agreement a few weeks ago. And yes, we're working with PEI and with Quebec. We're starting conversations with Manitoba. We're continuing discussions with Nova Scotia to sign similar agreements.
Merci. Et j'avais juste
Thank you. And I would have one question
sur le sujet de l'énergie de Brunswick.
on NB Power.
Vous avez pris connaissance
Were you made aware of the KPMG report?
complet, est-ce que vous êtes satisfait?
To find complete, are you satisfied with that report? Well, I believe KPMG did work after the second, where they went and assessed more than 100 specific examples of New Brunswickers, and they were looking to determine if there were any specific issues with technology in the system of billing, that they made work that was professional. They did work that was appropriate for an assessment company. So now we're waiting for NB Power to present us a plan in the next month as to what they are going to do to help support the New Brunswickers who have lived through the situation of really high bills at specific times, how we can improve the system so that we shouldn't have to wait to see bills that are so high in 1 month. I believe they're considering many options to help to eliminate these unforeseen bills that are larger than in the past months. More CTV.
It's been no secret that NB Power has made little progress in the past years of dealing with their debt to equity ratio, and that's with targets that were in place, with the utility being tasked to go back and find out how to do this. So now that that target has been taken away, why should anybody have any confidence that this will actually ever be dealt with in a meaningful way?
Yeah, I think you've voiced something there, Nick, that a lot of New Brunswickers are feeling. They've been seeing these increased rates for the last number of years. They've been seeing that NB Power's debt has stayed at the same level for a long time. It hasn't decreased. I will note perhaps that it hasn't increased dramatically, but the goal is to reduce it to what's been described as an appropriate level with that 80 to 20 ratio, and we're not there, and we haven't been making progress on that. That's why we're undertaking this comprehensive review of NB Power, because we can't keep going on the path that we've been on with the utility, because as we've seen, we're not making progress on the debt. We're not making progress on affordability. We continue to deliver reliable power to New Brunswickers, but we need to have confidence that the utility has the means to build a stable, affordable, sustainable energy delivery mechanism for the future. We need to retool our utility for the future, and so that's why we're doing the review. This is a move aimed at next year, because no New Brunswicker wants to see another double-digit rate increase next April, and the recommendations that are going to come from the comprehensive review that we receive next March will then have to go into implementation mode. So we need to find ways to diminish the impact on New Brunswickers while we do the hard work of changing course. because we can't continue the way we've been going to the point that you've made. We have not seen progress on debt reduction, so we're going to have to look at things differently, whether that's partnerships or restructuring or any number of solutions. We have to consider ways that we can set up the utility to reduce its debt, to get on top of its maintenance, and to deliver New Brunswickers the kind of power that's generated in the most environmentally friendly way, the most reliable way, and the most affordable way. So that's the work that we're doing right now with the comprehensive review, and in the short term, trying to help contain costs for New Brunswickers.
Follow up?
Thank you. On free trade and the discussion around that, we reported, some of us reported about the care packages that you sent to premiers on the video that you posted on the weekend. And your government has been keen to sign MOUs with provinces. I'm just wondering, what is the value in having these one-on-one deals with provinces when the eventual goal here is to have free trade across the country by Canada Day? What is the value in having in New Brunswick having one-on-one agreements with provinces?
Well, the value is in the removal of barriers and to make it easier for New Brunswick goods to get on the shelves of right now our neighbors in Ontario, our neighbors in Newfoundland, now without increased costs, the need for different labeling and different inspection processes. To have that mutual recognition of our goods and services makes a difference today. Maybe I'm an impatient person. I want to strike while the iron's hot. The opportunity was there. We know that the work of true and full free trade is difficult, and so that's why we're entering into the conversations with every province in Canada. And we're feeling pretty optimistic about the federal government's commitment to removing the federal barriers. But the Canada Free Trade Agreement has multiple parties. So the federal government has to do their piece, and each and every other province has to do their piece. So in the meantime, we're moving where we can move. We're making progress where we can make progress, because we're realizing those benefits in April and May and June. And who knows what will happen July 1st. But these MOUs means those benefits with those provinces will exist for every month thereafter.
Eden Rayner, CHCO TV.
Hi. Hi, thank you. What do you hope to see from the new federal cabinet, specifically from Sean Fraser as minister responsible for the Atlantic Canada Opportunity Agency? And how do you think the agency can better serve New Brunswickers through this time?
Oh, that's a great question, Aidan. Thank you. We're pleased to see, obviously, a local. It hasn't always been somebody from the Atlantic responsible for ACOA, so we're very happy that that's the case with an experienced minister in Sean Fraser. And we hope to see that ACOA continues to move in somewhat the direction it's been moving, really responsive, focused on the priorities of the provinces that it serves. And so we're going to be looking for ACOA to be a partner with us in the expansion of our modular housing industry, the expansion of our ports as critical elements of trade infrastructure, the support to businesses in New Brunswick, both those who are trade and tariff impacted, as well as those who are looking to grow and become more competitive and more productive in their adoption of new technology and automation solutions, and in the expansion of their sales and marketing opportunities to new countries and new places. And so really looking for ACOA to be a full economic partner with New Brunswick in helping our companies get competitive and grow good paying jobs here in New Brunswick that align with some of the strategic priorities that we've articulated to the federal government.
Eden, your follow-up?
And will the interprovincial deals that you've been making, do they have an expiry date? And if so, when would those expire?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't believe they have an expiry date. They may have a review date, but let me go and get the exact right answer for you and come back to you.
Mark Leger, CBC.
Hi. On the modular construction side of things, housing supply has been a real problem that predates even the current crisis, especially on the affordable housing side. Why do you see modular construction as a game changer for what's been a bedeviling problem for a long time?
Well, for two reasons, Mark. Thanks for the question. New Brunswick has a significant amount of expertise in modular construction, and we have companies in the modular construction space that have been growing and growing and growing and building increased capacity to supply from here in New Brunswick. They've been growing their workforce and the good jobs that they exist. They've been growing their capacity to create more affordable homes year-round. One of the benefits to modular building is that it's quicker because most of it happens indoors 12 months of the year, and then when you get on site, assembly is also a lot quicker, so it helps shave time off of development projects, which is right now time is of the essence. So we see capacity, the opportunity to grow the capacity because we have this expertise here. We have businesses that are strong and stable and ready to expand to meet the growing demand and the need for supply that exists in New Brunswick and all over Canada.
Mark, a follow-up?
See some export. I know there's obviously export opportunity there across the country for that expertise. Do you see it within the province? Do you see projects in the cities and in some of the smaller towns that will help alleviate the issues, the housing issues here in the province?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is one of those success stories where we watch other provinces catch on to our expertise sometimes before we do, and we see our modular home builders already exporting product to Nova Scotia, to Quebec, to Ontario, while New Brunswick municipalities and developers and others also start to realize that if they want to do an affordable housing development in the Miramichi or somewhere else, then they can partner with a modular builder and get that project done more quickly. Modular has come a long way to multi-level housing, multi-unit housing, and to commercial for different types of structures and buildings. We use modular in building schools now, so it's really something that is a strength of New Brunswick that is just the right thing for this moment where we desperately need to build. As Prime Minister Carney says, we need to build, baby, build as fast as possible here in New Brunswick. So I hope more and more people look at this new way to get affordable housing built quickly in their communities while we continue to do the work with the federal government and others on the regulatory environment and the other pieces that'll help make that move even more quickly.
Alexander Johnson, All New Brunswick.
Good afternoon, Premier. I wanted to ask about the NB Power debt to equity ratio. Was this decision to remove the deadline for meeting that target reviewed with the credit rating agencies? And if so, what was their feedback?
This is something that we had understood the position of credit rating agencies on. It's not something that we presented to them when we were having the meetings with the credit rating agencies a number of weeks ago because the decision hadn't been finalized at that point. But we understand that many of them are watching it. That we haven't heard to date of any agency that has changed their rating for New Brunswick based on this decision. But it does anything that doesn't address the debt of NB Power is something that creates risk for New Brunswick. So we did get the sense that this shift didn't create significantly enough risk to adjust the ratings that the agencies have assigned to us based on our province's excellent debt to GDP ratio. That's the lowest east of Saskatchewan. But we know that if we continue to not address NB Power's debt for the foreseeable future, then it will become a bigger and bigger problem for New Brunswick. And that's why we're doing the comprehensive review. It's one of the reasons, right? We need a utility that has both the financial wherewithal to manage its assets, its service delivery, and right now our debt is an issue in that regard. The state of our infrastructure is an issue. And so it's something that we have to address for the long term. And we're looking at, that's why we're doing the comprehensive review, to look at all of the different choices that are on the table and to engage with New Brunswickers on which choices we should make to get them the most affordable and reliable energy for the sustainable future of energy delivery in New Brunswick.
Thank you. And just to switch topics for follow-up, you opened this call by, excuse me, by saying that the tariff situation is somewhat stabilized. I was wondering, can you tell us where the province stands as far as what impact we're seeing today with things a little more stable, and how much aid has been distributed to businesses so far?
Oh, that's a good question, and I'm sorry that I don't have a figure for you right now as to what aid has been distributed, because I think the last time I spoke to that question a couple weeks ago, we had applicants in the process, but we hadn't put out any dollars of aid yet. So let me get that update for you on where that stands now, and how whether those companies that have been engaged with Opportunities New Brunswick and others had made it through the process and received support. We'll come back to you with those details.
Sheldon McLeod, MBS Radio.
Good afternoon, Premier. I wanted to go back to NB Power for a quick second. Last Saturday night, there was a major power outage affecting Sussex and Sussex Corner, and one business owner had reported to us that obviously the Mother's Day weekend had a huge impact on business owners, and he's calling for more accountability from the utility and from politicians. What do you say to him?
Well, I appreciate the question, because this is part of the challenge of the position that we're in right now with NB Power. We have infrastructure that needs to be maintained, and we need to have the financial flexibility to invest in both preventative maintenance and ongoing maintenance of all of our assets, and that's challenging to do when you have debt at a level that's greater than the recommended debt to equity ratio, and you have rates going up at a rate that New Brunswickers can't stomach. So we have a number of pieces in this circle that we need to square, is that how you say it, or in the triangle, and we have to undertake a comprehensive review to determine how can we restructure how we deliver electricity to New Brunswickers so that that reliability is there, that affordability is there, and that the long-term fiscal future of the utility is stable and manageable. And so I appreciate the questions, because those are the same questions that we're asking. We need to have confidence that we have a utility that is structured, financed, and built to deliver New Brunswickers reliable power for the foreseeable future that is affordable. So I feel for that business owner. I'm sorry that they had such a negative impact to their business from an outage that wasn't able to be resolved quickly enough during a vacation weekend. It gets at exactly the reason why we need to do this comprehensive review and make some fundamental changes to our energy utility so that it can deliver reliable, affordable power for the future that New Brunswickers can have confidence in.
My follow-up is about smart meters. Anecdotally, there are a number of folks who say their bills have gone up, their power usage seems to increase, and nothing has changed. NB Power says it's reviewed and doesn't, from their perspective, have anything to do with the smart meters. Some folks have opted out of them. I'm wondering if people should trust the company that is making money from these smart meters through the rates that may seem higher, what kind of recourse people have. I know they can opt out, but can they ask for the old meters to be returned?
I just want to clarify a few things, because the rates are the same regardless of the meter technology. So what kind of meter you have does not affect the kind of rates that you're receiving from NB Power. Those rates are fixed, and I think what the audit determined was whether folks had legacy meters or whether they had smart meters. We saw significant increases in bills in both of those environments, and we saw some of that whether it was with NB Power or we talked to our neighboring provinces to see what was happening in PEI and Nova Scotia, and they were seeing similar increases to bills even though they had different metering technology. So we haven't identified anything to say that these particular meters are driving a different result than legacy meters and meters in other places as the source of the problem. So I want to reassure New Brunswickers that their rates are consistent regardless of their technology. Should they wish to return their smart meter or have it removed and a legacy meter installed, then they can reach out to NB Power and make that request, and it will be honored. But I would also caution that one of the things that we're hoping to do for the future is give New Brunswickers more control over the energy that they consume and the cost of that energy. And technology is one of the things that's going to help us be able to potentially offer lower rates at times when demand is not as high. We can't offer that with legacy technology. The ability to get a lower or more attractive rate when the demand for power is low is going to come with the kind of smart meter technology that will allow us to do that. So we want to be able to give New Brunswickers that opportunity to get preferred rates and to adjust their energy usage to the time when it's going to be the lowest cost for them. But giving them that opportunity comes with the technology that allows for it to happen.
David Gordon Koch, MB Media Co-op.
Hello, Premier Holt. On interprovincial free trade, labor leaders are warning that it could be a Trojan horse for deregulation, resulting in a race to the bottom in terms of health and safety standards, for example. The NB Federation of Labor has called for the province to create working groups that include labor, Indigenous communities, and business to ensure that hard-fought gains in terms of working conditions and so on aren't eroded. Any response?
Oh, well, I appreciate the flag because we absolutely agree with labor that we don't want to erase progress. We want to ensure that we're continuing to improve standards and really race to the top. And if we learn of practices that are better and stronger in other provinces, then this opportunity for labor mobility gives us the chance to all come up to some of the highest standards that we see in the country. And I'd certainly be interested in absolutely having those conversations with labor leaders around if there are areas or jurisdictions that they feel are lower or behind what New Brunswick has in place. I would very much appreciate that engagement in those conversations because we are looking at the work that our neighboring provinces do to regulate and certify and ensure the health and safety of their employees and their customers and their people. And I think all of us are doing diligent work on that front and respect and trust that other provinces are doing great work there too. So that's a conversation we'd be happy to have in collaboration with the leaders that you described.
Okay, thank you. And for the follow-up, Willistote Grand Chief Ron Tremblay has expressed concern about the Sisson Mine and Northcliffe Resources, which reportedly has financial backing from the U.S. Department of Defense to develop the mine, which of course the Willistote Grand Council opposes. In particular, I'm wondering your comment on, the U.S. Defense Department having a stake in this project in the context of ongoing concerns about Canadian independence and sovereignty. Isn't there some cognitive dissonance here? Your comment?
Oh, I can absolutely appreciate that because the Canadian government has also invested in the project. And when we look at the global market for investment in minerals, we see China as the biggest player. But I was actually just in a conversation with the ambassador from the Czech Republic about the relationship between Canada and the European Union when it comes to critical minerals and when it comes to energy, because there's opportunities for us to build strong trading, defense, mineral, and energy partnerships with our friends and folks that are in jurisdictions that we trust and conduct free trade with today. So it is absolutely, I think Grand Chief Tremblay's concerns about the U.S. Departments of Defense's role in the Northcliffe project are valid. It's conversations we're having right now about the market for minerals, the partners that Canada wants to engage with, and how we move forward in the best way possible in this space.
And that concludes today's update. Thank you. Voilà la fin de la conférence de presse.
That's the end of the press conference. Thank you.